I think to your point, added capacity for preparation. Representative Boone. All right. The event really, in terms of lives affected in a physical way, was actually relatively minor and small. But the effect in terms of its impact on trust in government, because of, again, at times confusing communication, at times differing directions, a couple of, again, situations that had any one of them happened individually would not have compounded at the same rate that they did. The warning is on, the warning is off, the warning is back on, that type of thing, again, trying to pass along what people knew at the time, created a problem that is enduring, and that enduring problem is a weakened amount of trust in the public to respond. Now, there are still people throughout the region who are using bottled water still because they are freaked out about what is in their tap. More to the point, there are communities that didn't test because they're not required to, that knew full well that they had a problem, but were of a size and scale of a community that they didn't have an answer to fix it, so they just didn't want to know if it was a deal, and they figured it would work itself out. This whole thing reminded me very much of Operation Earnest Will in the late 80s, where they, reflagging of Kuwaiti tankers reminded the United States Navy that there were actually mines in the water, and we had to relearn some things that we had forgotten, like safe water isn't something we can take for granted. For a long time, Salem and other communities have depended upon reservoirs, expecting the water purification system and natural flow to continue to work the way it has, because for 12 million years it had worked that way. But in 2015, the National Security Strategy identified global climate change as a clear and present danger. I have a feeling that we're going to be seeing and learning a whole lot more about these types of toxins, and I applaud the efforts of learning through this first MASH to kind of figure out how we're going to make it work. I support the packages that went to the E-Board. I think the entire Homeland Security Council supports those packages. I must admit I was disappointed, and I think we have a solution moving forward. There was discussion with a number of agencies about including a rapidly mobile, short-term, small but important capacity having to do with reverse osmosis water purification that the military now often contracts out through other services when deployed. The Oregon Association of Water Utilities is prepared to train. The Water Resources Department does that kind of work in many ways throughout the state anyway. My hope is that by December, because there were some folks, I think, in the Legislative Fiscal Office that didn't necessarily either hear about or accept the need, I think we're going to revisit that so that in December, a small package for a rapidly mobile water security vehicle can be sent to communities, so while the community is grappling with what to do long term, we can at least ensure that the most vulnerable people know that they're getting safe water. The technology of ROPU may be old, but the improvements on the equipment and the interoperability is really pretty impressive. It can hook into hydrant systems, it can use existing water systems. They're very effective, they're not all that expensive, and even though they're stupid simple, sometimes stupid simple is helpful when things are going bad. So I just want to applaud the work that's done. I also want to publicly say I was out at a number of those water stations at all kinds of hours to check. Our public servants, our nonprofit groups, church groups, neighbors, it really was, I think, a reminder of what is good about community. The public's job, the government's job, I think now is to make sure we have the tools to ensure that that has a farther reach. So I think the testing is critical. I think that the communications work, I know that poor Director Phelps kind of got walloped when he was actually trying to help out. And sometimes you get punished for trying to help out, but I think the lessons that we've learned are going to be invaluable for when we actually do have a catastrophic event. So I really do appreciate you digging into this and fighting with FEMA and bringing up the point that who in the world would buy a system that can scare the heck out of everybody, but you can't actually test internally. who thought that was a good idea. So I appreciate you working on that. And I know, Director Stuckey, the National Guard is stretched, getting ready for deployments and getting ready to do other things. Having them in the back pocket to be able to throw at a problem, especially in the initial stages, is critical. So I just want to say thank you for what you're doing. Tell your agencies that you have a partner in trying to get you more capacity. And to Representative Lively's point, this isn't the last time we've seen it. And the problem is, unlike your smoke issue that you alluded to, many cities have infrastructures that are aging and are not going to be able to be turned overnight. And while I think that the state has a role in helping assist them develop new tools and more modern systems, that short-term deployability, I think, is going to be something we need. Oregon Homeland Security Council, the 4 legislators that are on it, are going to be submitting a letter for the December Emergency Board. I will ask the members of this committee and anybody else who wants to send letters of support for having that immediate package, because the purpose is to get it purchased before the next summer season. We can go through the normal legislative process, and I hope during discussions about Lend-Lease and other things that these types of equipment can be used or as a part of that. But at least some initial capacity for next summer, I think, would be helpful. Thank you.